Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our Bhagavad Gita overview. So we'll start our class with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksharon Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathānvitam tam sajivam sadvaitam savadhutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So welcome everyone. So today we'll be discussing the most important chapter of the whole Bhagavad Gita, and chapter is itself entitled the most confidential knowledge. So we discussed in Gita Mahatmya, one of the verses says Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogadha Gopalanandanaha. So if you consider all the scriptures to be like a cow, then the milk of the cow is the essence, and that essence is Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the scriptures. And in Bhagavad Gita, there are three sections: Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. So middle 6 chapters, which comprises Bhakti Yoga, it is the essence of whole Bhagavad Gita. And in middle of these 6 chapters, from 7 to 12, this 9th chapter is the essence of these middle 6 chapters. So that shows how this 9th chapter is the most important chapter of whole Bhagavad Gita, because it describes Vijnana, the sweetness of the Lord. Jnanam teham savijnanam idam vakshyami asheshataha. So as Krishna said, I'll tell you about theoretical knowledge and realized knowledge also. Chakravarti Pad says, this refers to the greatness of the Lord and the sweetness of the Lord. So this chapter describes the sweetness of the Lord. So in this slide, you can see the connection between the 8th chapter and the 9th chapter. So in the 8th chapter, Krishna has explained that Ananya Bhakta, the unalloyed devotee, surpasses the path of light and darkness. So I'll just go to the last slide where this is mentioned. So in this 27th verse, Krishna has said, Naite sriti parth jana yogi muhyati kasyana tasmad sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavarjuna. O Arjuna, a devotee is not bewildered by all these different paths, path of light or path of darkness. So he just focuses on remembering me. And then Krishna has described the supreme position of a bhakti yogi. So devotee of the Lord attains everything. Yat karma vir yat tapasa jnana vairagyaschayat yogena dana dharmena shreyo bhiruterairapi sarvam madbhakti yogena madbhakto labate anjasa swarga apavarga madhama kathanchit yati vanchati. So Krishna is saying the same, which is just, he is saying here in 28th verse, same he is saying to Uddhava also. Yat karma bhir, whatever results one obtains by practicing of karma yoga, tapasa by tapasya, dan dharmena, dan by the practice of charity, by dharma, shreyobhir itarairapi, and all the other means. Sarvam mad bhakti yogena mad bhakto labhate anjasa. Very easily my devotee attains all these things. He attains Swarga, Apavarga, and Madham. If he wants heaven, he'll go to heaven. If he wants Mukti, he'll go to Brahman. And if he wants my abode, he'll come to me. So therefore, after describing this, Krishna explains how to become that Ananya Bhakta of the Lord, unalloyed devotee of the Lord. So that Krishna will describe in this chapter. So this chapter is entitled as the most confidential knowledge. And Srila Prabhupada in the first verse of this chapter describes the various levels of confidentiality. So there he says that there is Guhya Gyan, Guhyatar Gyan, and Guhyatam Gyan. So Guhya Gyan is the knowledge of matter and spirit, which Krishna has described from 2nd to 6th chapters. Then higher than the Guhya is Guhyatar, which is described in chapter 7, that is knowledge of Bhakti Yoga. Now Krishna is describing Guhyatama Gyan. And what is that Guhyatam Gyan? In Bhakti also there are many types of devotees. We saw in the 7th chapter Sakama Bhakta, Nishkama Bhakta, Jnani, and Kevala Bhakta. So Krishna is saying, I will tell you what is the qualification to get to become a Kevala Bhakta. Knowledge of Kevala Bhakti is given by Krishna in this chapter. So therefore, now we'll start with the first verse. So in this first verse, Krishna says only a non-envious person can get this knowledge of Bhakti and realization of Krishna. Idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshamyanusuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajgyatva mokshase shubhat. So Krishna is saying, idam tu te guhyatamam. So he is saying this is not guhyatam, this is guhyatamam knowledge, most confidential knowledge. And this is tamaha, guhyatama, that is the most confidential knowledge and realization. So somebody will think, why this knowledge is confidential? Is there, limited edition of this knowledge which is given only to selected amount of people? No, it is not like that. This is not because of the frugality of the, divine grace or mercy of the Lord, but it is because of the scarcity of human desire. We are not desiring enough. Our desire, our purpose is not sufficiently strong. So therefore, we don't strive to get this Guhyatamam Gyan. So Krishna is saying, Pravakshyami, I'll tell you this Guhyatamam Gyan because you are anasuyave, because you are never envious of me. Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam, I'll tell you about knowledge and realization, both theoretical knowledge and realized knowledge. Jnana Vijnana Sahitam. So Jnana is like a diagnosing a disease, and Vijnana is like giving treatment for that disease, the prescription by which one will get cured. So Krishna says, I'll give you both. I'll diagnose the disease also, and I'll give you the prescription how to get out of this, come out of this disease. That Krishna says in this verse. Yaj gyatva mokshase ashubhat. And whoever gets this knowledge, what happens to that person? He'll be relieved of all the miseries of material existence. So when somebody hears this, he thinks, okay, if I become a devotee, the miseries of this material world will not trouble me. So it is not the case. Miseries will come, but we will experience, we will develop the right qualifications, and will develop right response towards those miseries if we are practicing this Guhyatamam Gyan. We'll learn how to respond to the problems of this world. And of course, when we act according to the prescription given by Lord, then our miseries won't increase. So therefore, Prabhupada writes in the purport that in this verse, this idam jnanam is a very, very significant word. So what does this mean, idam jnanam? Idam jnanam means the knowledge of devotional service and various limbs of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. So these are the various limbs of devotional service by which we can become a pure devotee, Kevala Bhakta. So this is the first verse. Then second verse is a very very important and very famous verse. So we spend some time discussing this verse. This verse says, Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartumapyayam. Rajavidya. This knowledge is the king of all the education. Raj Guhyam, this is the most secret of all the secrets. Pavitram, it is the purest of all the pure knowledges available. Uttamam, it is transcendental. Prabhupada writes in the purport. Tama means darkness. Uttama means that which is beyond the darkness. That is transcendental. Then Pratyakshaavagamam. Pratyakshaavagamam is a very important word to be understood in this. This means it gives direct perception of the self by realization, Prabhupada writes. We can directly experience Krishna consciousness working on us. All of us have the experience that Krishna consciousness has transformed our desires. We have come much ahead in the path of bhakti, and we can remember the day one and now. So that is the personal realization everybody develops by the practice of bhakti. Dharmyam, it is a perfection of religion. Susukham kartumapyayam, and it is joyfully performed. Bhakti means kevala ananda kanda. It is joyful. Somebody asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, what do you do for recreation? Whole day you are doing chanting and writing books and meeting people. What do you do for recreation? Prabhupada said, this Krishna consciousness is itself a recreation for us. We don't have to do anything else for recreation. So therefore, this is susukham. We will automatically become joyful. So this Raja Vidya can mean two ways. The king of knowledge or knowledge meant for the kings. So therefore, Krishna says in the 10th chapter also, Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam. Of all the education, the greatest of all the educations is Adhyatma Vidya, and I am that. So this knowledge is supposed to be given to the kings, and also, as Krishna says in the 4th chapter, 1st verse, Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanam Abhyayam Vivaswan Manave Praha. I gave this knowledge to sun god Vivaswan, then he gave to Manu, then to Ikshvaku. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu. So this knowledge was coming down in parampara of Raja Rishis. So this knowledge is the king of knowledge. And if the king of the state gets this knowledge, he can give this king of knowledge to everyone. And then it is pavitram. Pavitra means it purifies us of all the sinful reactions. We may have done unlimited sinful reactions in this life or our past lives. Prabhupada writes in the purport that this knowledge, it is like a fire which burns away all the karmic reactions. And he quotes one verse from Padma Puran, which is described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu also. Aprarabdha phalam papam putam bijam phalonmukham prameneva praliyate vishnu bhakti ratatmanaha. So 4 things are described in this verse. Aprarabdha, papam, putam and bijam. So aprarabdha means those results which are not, those reactions which are not manifested yet. Then papam means those sinful reactions which we are experiencing now. Then kutam means sinful disposition. If somebody does one thing, then the tendency to do that thing again increases. If somebody is passing by a road and he eats a pani puri, then when he is passing by the same road again next day, the tendency and the desire to eat that dish will increase. So this is called kutam. And bija means the seed form of sinful reactions which are yet to come. Then Krishna is saying, Padma Puran describes, Kramenaiva praliyate, all these things are destroyed By whom? Vishnu Bhakti Ratatmana. By the practice of Krishna consciousness, all these sinful reactions are destroyed. So therefore it is Pavitram and Uttamam. Then this Pratyaksha it is very important to be understood. Prabhupada writes, it is the execution of devotional service. It is so perfect that one can perceive the results directly. When we practice bhakti, when we start chanting, associating with devotees, we can actually see ourselves transforming. Bhagavatam describes when somebody is practicing bhakti, what happens? Bhakti paresha anubhavo virakti anyatra chaishatra ek kalah prapadyamanasya yathashnatasyo tushti pushti kshut apayo nughasam. Just like when somebody is eating food, with every morsel of food, three things are happening. Tushti. Tushti means one feels satisfied. Pushti means the body is nourished. And Kshut apayo anughasam. The hunger decreases with every morsel. It does not happen, first bite you take, then you are satisfied. Second bite, nourishment. Third bite, hunger is decreasing. No. All these happen simultaneously. Similarly, if somebody is practicing bhakti, then three things happen simultaneously. First is the taste for practicing bhakti increases. Second, para ish anubhava. We can directly perceive our connection with the Supreme. Para ish anubhav. We can take anubhav of Krishna. We can connect ourselves to the Lord by the process of bhakti. We can experience the Lord working in our life. And third is virakti. We experience a detachment from the material things. And that is not happening, that means we are not practicing bhakti properly. Prabhupada gives an example. He tells the story of the marriage party, which is going from one side of the river to the other side. And the boatman, he said, don't worry, you all sleep. It is an overnight journey. Next morning, you will be at your destination. Everybody slept. Next morning, they got up and they found they were at the same place. Everybody was surprised, including the boatman. He was trying his best to row the boat. And when people asked him, he said, I don't know what happened. I was trying my best. Then they found out that this person had forgotten to remove the anchor of the boat. So similarly, if we are not experiencing detachment from the material things, if we are still experiencing attraction for the mundane things, mundane movies, mundane friends, all the mundane things which take us away from Krishna, that means there is some anchor which is not yet removed. So therefore, pratyaksha avagamam, we can experience the pleasure and purification by the process of bhakti. So if we are sufficiently sincere enough, Krishna will give us the intelligence by which we can come to him. Tadami buddhi yogam tam, as Krishna says in the 10th chapter. I give the intelligence by which my devotee can come to me. Prabhupada in the purport, he quotes the story of Narad Muni. And he describes how Narad Muni, when he was a small child, in his past life, he got a chance to serve the Bhaktivedantists. And he would take the remnants of these great devotees of the Lord by their permission. And by taking the remnants of these devotees, he experienced complete transformation in his life. He got attracted to the Krishna Katha, he got attracted to the process of Krishna consciousness. Uchchashtalepān anumodito dujay sakratsum bhunjay tadapasta kilpishayih evam pravrittasya vishuddha chetasas tadharma evatma ruchi prajayate. Uchchishta, I just took the remnants. Uchchishta means juta. Remnants of prasad which was tasted by these devotees. Anumodito, by their permission. And then what happened? Sakratsma bhunje. All my sinful activities, sinful reactions were burned to ashes. Tadharma evatma ruchi prajayate. The process of devotional service became attractive for me. Narad Muni, he became such a pure devotee in his past life as a small boy. It so happened that when these Bhaktivedantists, They left this place. One day, mother of this Narad Muni, she went to the forest to milk the cow, and she was bitten by the serpent and she died. So Narad Muni is a small 5 years old boy. It is a shock of his life. He has no one else in his life to take care, to go to, turn to. You know what he says? He's not blaming God. Just like typical movie scene which happens. Something bad happens in the life of a hero, and he goes to the temple and he rings the bell and he says, "Bhagwan, mere saath aisa tune kyun kiya?" So Krishna, Narad Muni is not saying like this. He says, "Tada tata mishasya bhaktanam sam abhipshitah anugraham manyamanaha pratishtham dishamuttaram bhaktanam sham abhipshitah." He understood. He understood that Krishna always desires good for his devotees. Anugraham manyamana. He took it as the mercy of the Lord. And he left everything and went to the north. So therefore it is important why Prabhupada describes this story, because he wants to focus and emphasize on this point of Pratyaksha Avagamam. Pratyaksha Avagamam means, Chaitanya Prabhu writes a very nice line. He says that is a realization, and this realization comes, it is a very technical line. I'll explain. I'll just say that first. He says realization comes when we use our anuman to harmonize pratyaksha with the shabd. So it looks very difficult to understand. I'll explain it. So there are three things: anuman, pratyaksha, and shabd. Anuman means our thinking process, power of analysis. Pratyaksha means what we are seeing in this world, and shabda means the words of the scriptures. So when wrong things, calamities come in our life, when things do not go our way, this is what is happening. This is pratyaksha. So when will the realization come? As this is the Vijnana. So everybody of us, we want to develop realizations of Krishna consciousness. But the million-dollar question is, when will the realization come? One day you get up in the morning and you are realized soul? No, it does not happen like that. You have to endeavor every moment. When you see something happening in the world, then you harmonize, you use your intelligence, Anuman. You use your power of analysis and harmonize what you are seeing and what the scriptures are saying. So therefore, Narad Muni, he thought, this is the mercy of the Lord. My mother has died, but he remembered the words of Bhaktivedantists, and he understood that now Krishna has cut off all my family attachments. Now I can go towards him. So that is Pratyaksha Avagamam. So, this is the every day's endeavor. We have to try to correlate our Pratyaksha with the Shabda. Whatever we have heard in the scriptures and whatever we are seeing in the outside world, we have to use our intelligence and analyze. Connect Pratyaksha with the Shabda. So I hope it is clear. Then after this, it is described that if bhakti is so powerful, so joyful, so sukham, then why do faithless and envious people do not perform bhakti? Who do not perform bhakti? Who is such a sinful and foolish person who will not perform this joyful way of bhakti? Krishna says those who are faithless, they cannot perform this practice of Krishna consciousness. Ashraddhadhana purusha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartamai. Ashraddhadhana, those who are not faithful, dharmasya asya parantapa, O parantapa, in this process of devotional service, they do not attain me by this, because they do not practice this process of devotional service. Therefore, what happens? Nivartante mrityu samsara. They return back to this material world. So Prabhupada in the purports, he elaborates on three types of devotees, about Kanishta, Madhyam and Uttama Adhikari. And he talks about process of development of faith in Krishna consciousness. And he quotes this verse just like he says that when what is faith? And he quotes from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Sudrid Nishchay Krishne Bhakti Koile Sarva Karam Krithoe. Shraddha means you should have that faith that if I am practicing bhakti, everything else will be done. So slowly we have to uh, cultivate that faith, because if Krishna is pleased, then everything will be proper. Yatha taror mool nisheshanena tripyanti tatskand bhujok shakha. Just like watering the root of the tree nourishes every part of the tree. Similarly, by worshipping Krishna, we will be satisfied and everybody will be satisfied. That is called faith. Then, now Krishna speaks about his very, very powerful energies. He describes his Aishwarya Gyan, by which he sustains this material world. How he creates, maintains, and destroys this material world will be described in further verses. So this is how Krishna is describing the Aishwarya Gyan in this 9th chapter. So in the 4th verse, Krishna says, I am pervading in every atom of this creation. He says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagadabhyakta murtina, in my unmanifested form, abhyakta murtina, matsthani sarva bhutani, all beings are in me, nacha ham teshu avasthitah, but I am not in them. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Then, 5th verse, immediately Krishna contradicts his own statement. 4th verse, he is saying Krishna is in everything. 5th verse, Krishna is saying he is not in everything. Matsthani sarva bhutani is the 3rd line of the 4th verse. 5th verse, Krishna is saying Nacha matsthani bhutani pashyame yogamaishwaram. So Krishna is saying, yet everything that is created does not rest in me. So somebody may say, Hare Krishna is contradicting himself. There is some problem in these two statements. We may also sometimes speak something and then we forget and we make a different statement. But it happens after some considerable amount of time. But we see in 2 successive verses, Krishna is contradicting himself. But in the 2nd line of the 5th verse, he is resolving that contradiction. Pashya me yogam aishwaram. Behold my mystic opulence. This is the inconceivable potency of Krishna. Krishna can be in everything and he is not in everything. And Ishopanishad describes in great detail. Tad ejati, tan naijati, tad dure, tad avantike, tad antarasya sarvasya, tad usarvasyasya bahyatah. Tad ejati, tan naijati. I am near, I am far. I can walk, I cannot walk. I see, I don't see. I am inside, but I am inside of everything, and I am outside of everything also. So this is the Yogam Aishwaram. This is the inconceivable potency of Lord. Bhuta Brinna cha Bhutastho. He says, I am the maintainer of every living entity. Na cha Bhutastho. But I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation. That means I am not entangled in this material creation. Mama Atma Bhuta Bhavanaha. Because I am only the source of this creation. So this is how Krishna is revealing his inconceivable potency. How he is in everything, but still he is not in everything. So therefore, we have to understand Krishna is a Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. Krishna, that is Krishna's potency, inconceivable potency. And the famous story which Prabhupada tells to describe this inconceivable nature of the Lord is that one time Narad Muni went to a Brahmana and to a cobbler. And both of them, they asked Narad Muni, oh Narad Muni, you can go to Vaikuntha. Next time when you go to Lord Vishnu, please ask him, will I go back to his abode after this life? Both of them asked the same question. So Narad Muni went to Vishnu and he asked. So Lord Vishnu said, this Brahmana, he may take some lifetimes to come back to me. But this cobbler, he will come back to me after this life. So Narad Muni was confused. How is this possible? This Brahmana is doing all the yagyas and chanting of the mantras, doing his sadhan, sandhya vandan, everything. So Lord Vishnu said, okay, you go and tell them you tell both of them that when they ask what Lord was doing, you tell them Lord was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. So Lord Vishnu, he told, and Narad Muni came back. This Brahmana, he asked, oh Narad Muni, you came back so fast? I don't think so. You went back to Vaikuntha. You went to Vaikuntha? He said, yes. Okay, I want to check. Please tell me what Lord Vishnu was doing when you met him. So Narad said, well, he was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. So Brahmana, he started laughing. How is this possible? You didn't go to Lord Vishnu's abode. You are just joking. How is this possible? And then Narad Muni realized, yes, what Lord Vishnu was saying is correct. Then Narad Muni went to this cobbler and he said the same thing. And cobbler started glorifying Lord Vishnu. Oh, my Lord is so great. This is the inconceivable power of the Lord. And Narad Muni said, do you believe this? He said, of course, why not? Lord can do anything. See, I am sitting beneath this great banyan tree, and the seed of the banyan tree is so small. The Lord can put such a huge banyan tree in a small seed, he can do anything. So that is how Lord has an inconceivable potency. And then to show that how he is inconceivable, to show his yogam aishwaram, in the 6th verse he gives the example. Yatha akashistito nityam vayu sarvatra komahan. Just like this mighty wind blows everywhere, tatha sarvani bhutani, but it always rests in the sky. Wind goes everywhere but still rests in the sky. Tatha sarvani bhutani matsthani tupadharaya. Similarly, all beings are created by me and they rest in me. So that is what Krishna says. So Krishna gives freedom to everyone, but within a limited framework. We have unlimited freedom, just like a cow tied by a rope to a tree. So the cow has a freedom, unlimited freedom to do whatever he wants, but within that radius of the rope. So therefore, Krishna creates this material world and destroys this material world. Everything is happening by the will of the Lord. Now, Krishna describes how he creates this world and destroys this world. So 7th verse, he describes that this world is undergoing a periodic creation and destruction. He says, all material manifestations, O Arjuna, sarva bhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamikam. At the end of the creation, before this destruction, what happens? Everything comes back in me. Kalpakshaye punastani, and then at the end of the millennium, I create them again. So there are various types of annihilation. One is Nitya Pralay, Naimittika Pralay, Prakritik Pralay, and Atyantika Pralay. So Nitya Pralay means that destruction which is happening every moment. Some things are getting destroyed every moment. In our body, some cells are dying every second. That is Nitya Pralay. Then Naimittika Pralay happens at the end of the day of Brahma. When Brahma, he sleeps, all the planetary systems below the Maharloka get submerged in the water of Garbhodak ocean. And then again, when he gets up next day, he has to create all these again. That is Naimittika Pralay. Prakritika Pralay happens when Brahmaji, he dies. So this whole material universe is destroyed and everything goes in the body of Vishnu. And last is Atyantika Pralay. Atyantika Pralay means when the living entity gets liberated from this engagement of material body, from this engagement of mind, intelligence and ego. That is Atyantika Pralay. When the living entity becomes a pure soul. So Krishna is saying, at the end of every millennium, that means at the end of Brahma's day, I am, everything is destroyed, and in the beginning of the Brahma's day, everything is created again. And this is going on in a periodic way. Then eighth verse, Krishna says, everything is happening by my will. Prakritim swam avashtabhya. This whole cosmic manifestation is under me. Visrijami punha punaha. Under my will, it is manifested again and again, and then it is annihilated at the end also. So therefore, Krishna describes that how he is the source of creation, destruction, and maintenance also. Then Krishna says, I am involved in so many of the activities. I create, I maintain, I destroy. Somebody will say, Krishna is doing so much work. I think he is also bound by the results of his karma. So immediately Krishna describes, no, all these work cannot bind me. That it describes in the 9th verse. Nachamam tani karmani nibadananti dhananjaya. All these work cannot bind me, O Krishna, O Arjuna. So Arjuna may think, why? If we are bound by our actions, why you are not bound by actions? Krishna says in the 10th verse, because I am the supreme director of this material world. It is like if the king who has made the jail, if king wants to come and enter the jail, he is not bound by the laws of the jail. Similarly, Krishna, he has created this whole world. If he comes and does so many things in this world, he is not bound by the actions of which he performs in this world. Somebody may say, but Krishna is doing everything. So whatever is happening in this world, it is done by Krishna. So ultimately, Krishna should be responsible because Krishna made this world. He should be responsible for whatever actions which are performed in this world. It is as if king has made the jail. So prisoner, he is complaining, hey, king has made the jail. He is responsible for putting me in jail. No, king is not responsible for putting a prisoner in the jail. He has just made the laws, and it is the will of the prisoner. A person does something wrong, and that's why he becomes a prisoner and goes to the jail. So therefore, in the 10th verse, Krishna says, I am the supreme director of this entire material creation. This is a very famous verse. Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam. Maya adhyakshena prakriti. This material nature is working under my direction. Suyate sa characharam. This material nature is producing 84 lakh species of life. Suyate Sacharacharam, all moving and non-moving beings are created by this material nature. This material nature. Hetunanena kaunteya, jagadvi parivartate. And under the material creation, the control of the material nature, this world is created and annihilated again and again. So therefore, in 4th to 6th verses, Krishna has described how he is maintaining this world. And then 7th to 9th verses, he describes how he is creating and destroying this world. Then after this, Krishna says that, when Krishna descends in this world as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, when he descends, some people, they misunderstand him. They think, oh, this Krishna is an ordinary person. He is not the supreme. So therefore, in the next series of verses, Krishna describes the fate of those people who do not worship him, do not accept him to be the supreme. What happens to those people Krishna is describing? First of all, in the 11th verse, Krishna describes that foolish people, they do not consider Krishna to be the supreme Lord. They consider Krishna as an ordinary human. Avajananti mama mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam jananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. So Krishna is describing about the Mayavadis in this verse. So I discussed about Mayavadis and Brahmavadis earlier also. So these two verses describe about Mayavadis. Mayavadis are those people who do not consider Krishna as a person, and they do not consider Krishna to be the supreme person. So 11th and 12th verses describe Mayavadis. Avajananti, the fools, they deride me. Mama Mudha, they are foolish people. Avajananti, they do not know me. Manushim tanumashritam, when I descend in the human form, Parambhavam ajananto, they do not know my transcendental nature. Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram, and what is that transcendental nature? That I am the supreme lord of all that be. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has again and again described how he is the supreme lord. He is beyond this material creation. In 7.7, Krishna has described Mattah Parataram Nanyat Kinchitasti Dhananjaya. There is nothing beyond me. Then in this 10th verse, he has described Mayadhyakshena Prakriti in this chapter. So many places Krishna has described that I am beyond this material creation, I am the controller, I am the proprietor. But still, people who are impersonalists and who are foolish, they think Krishna is an ordinary person. He is not God. So now we'll see this word avajananti and ajananti. So first is jananti. Jananti means one who knows Krishna. Ajananti means who do not know Krishna. That is ignorance. They are ignorant. And avajananti means they know Krishna in a wrong way. So first is jananti. Jananti means knowing Krishna. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha. So tattvataha means knowing Krishna in truth. That is jananti. Ajananti means, third line Krishna is saying, param bhavam ajananto. Ajananto means they do not know my param bhava. And what is avajananti? Avajananti means they know me in a wrong way. They misunderstand me. So Krishna is saying, because people who are foolish, they misunderstand me, therefore they do not know my transcendental nature. Prabhupada quotes in the purport, one verse from Bhagavatam, Kritamanakil karmani saharamena keshava atimartyani bhagavan guda kapatamanashaha. So Kritaman, the pastimes and activities of Krishna, they are superhuman. Atimartyani means superhuman. Gudha kapatamanashaha. But when Krishna comes in this world, he appears like a human. So therefore people, they get bewildered. They don't understand, oh, this person is a supreme lord. And Prabhupada in the purport, he establishes Krishna's supremacy by quoting so many verses from Brahma Samhita, from Gopala Tapani Upanishad. And then in the end of this purport, 11th verse purport, Krishna says, people deride, Prabhupada writes that people deride Krishna in two ways. First, they deride the form of the Lord. And second, those who deride the deity form of the Lord. So there Prabhupada writes, some people say that, Krishna is everywhere. But our point is, if Krishna is everywhere, then he is in the deity form also. So Prabhupada establishes that deity form is not different from Krishna. In the 12th verse, Krishna says, what happens to those people who deride him? So 12th verse describes the fate of such fools. Mogha shamogha karmano mogha jnana vichetasaha rakshasim asurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha. Mogha asha, baffled in their hopes. These people, they have so many hopes. Mogha karmano, they are baffled in their fruitive activities. By their actions, they want to enjoy this world. They are baffled in those attempts. Mogha jnana, they want to attain knowledge. They want to attain knowledge about the Supreme Lord. But because they reject the form of the Lord, therefore they do not attain the results of that knowledge. Because they are vichetasaha. Vichetasa means they are deluded. They are deluded by the material energy of the Lord. And therefore the result is they become attracted by the Rakshasi and Asuri views, demoniac and atheistic views. And then they take shelter of the illusory potency of the Lord. So therefore, in this purport, Prabhupada writes a very wonderful point. He says it is a great offense, therefore, to consider Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to be an ordinary man. It is a great offense. If somebody is thinking Krishna to be an ordinary person, it is a big offense. And those who do so, they are certainly deluded. They are deluded. They are illusioned. They don't know because they cannot understand the eternal form of Krishna. And then he quotes very beautiful and wonderful verse from Brihad Vishnu Smriti. The translation of this verse says, one who considers the body of Krishna to be material should be driven out from all rituals and activities of all the Vedas. They should not be allowed in any yajna, in any karma kand ceremony. They should not be allowed. And if by chance, mukham tasyavalokyapi, if by chance somebody sees the face of this person who rejects the form of the Lord, what he should do, Sachelam snanam achare. He should take bath in Ganga along with his clothes. So with clothes on, he should take bath in Ganga. So somebody may say, but why such a severe reaction? So the answer is, just like now this corona epidemic is spreading very fast. So if one person is infected with a deadly infectious disease like a coronavirus, then he has to be isolated. If he is not isolated, then he will spread the disease to others very fast. Similarly, this concept of Mayavad. Mayavad means I can also become God. That is such a deadly infection that it can destroy the impetus for bhakti. The impetus for practicing Krishna consciousness will go away. Therefore, it is described, Mayavadi bhashya sunile hoye sarvanash. Nobody should try to hear Mayavad philosophy. So Mayavad means I can also become God. There is no difference between me and God. I am God. So all this is Mayavad philosophy. So therefore, we have to be really careful, very, very careful to associate with devotees only and not associate with Mayavadis. So it is very, very deadly. Mayavad bhashya shunile hoye sarva nash. And the fate of these Mayavadis, what is the fate of these Mayavadis who reject the form of the Lord? They are qualified to live in hell only. Their destination is only hellish planets. So if somebody is practicing Mayavad philosophy, their destination is only hell. And Bhagavatam and all the scriptures describe in great detail about this. So in the 11th and 12th verses, Krishna has described about pure devotees. And now Krishna will describe about, in 11th and 12th verses, Krishna has described about, those people who are not pure devotees. In 13th verse, Krishna will describe about those who are pure devotees of the Lord. So this 11th and 12th is the most dangerous understanding about Lord. 13th verse describes most evolved understanding about Lord. So what is that 13th verse? Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritimashritah bhajanti ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. Mahatmanastu mam partha, O Partha, these great souls, they are not deluded by such type of understanding. They are daivim prakritim ashritah. Daivi prakriti means they take shelter of the divine nature. So Chakravarti Bhatt writes that this is the hint about Srimati Radharani. Divine nature means Srimati Radharani. So Chaitanya Charamantu writes in one of the articles, he says, when Anu Atma, we are Anu, we are small, and Krishna is Vibhu, greatest of all the great personalities who is existing. So he says, when Anu Atma takes shelter of the Vibhu Atma, he becomes a Mahatma. So such a wonderful understanding about who is a Mahatma. When a Anu Atma takes shelter of Vibhu Atma, then he becomes a Mahatma. So Krishna is describing here who is a Mahatma, who has taken shelter of a Daivi Prakriti, his divine nature. Bhajanti ananya manaso, then they are fully engaged in devotional service. Jatva bhutadim avyayam, because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So in this verse, Krishna is telling about the internal mood. Internally, what does he do? Bhajanti ananya manaso. He is focused in Krishna. His mind is fixed in Krishna. 14th verse describes what does he do externally. अंदर तो भगवान का भजन चल रहा है मन में. Many times people, when we tell people, अरे थोड़ा जप करो, भगवान का नाम लो, चलता रहता है, अंदर चलता रहता है, अंदर बाहर नहीं आता है कभी भी, अंदर दिन भर चलता रहता है. So Krishna in this 13th verse is saying, अंदर चलता रहता है उसका प्योर डिवोटी का, बट बाहर क्या करता है वो, that is also described in the 14th verse. सततं कीर्तयन्तो मां यदन्तश्च दृढव्रताः नमस्यन्तश्च मां भक्त्या नित्ययुक्ता उपासते. Satatam kirtayanto mam. He always chants the glories of the Lord. He is not doing just silent meditation. Internally, he is meditating on the form of the Lord. Externally, he is also glorifying the Lord. Yatantascha dridavratah. Yatantascha means he attains the. Yatantascha means he is always endeavoring with great determination. So we'll focus on this word determination, this Yatanta and Dridhavrata. He is endeavoring with great determination. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya, always bowing down before me. Nitya yukta upasate. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So here Krishna is using Satatam and Nitya. Always chants and perpetually worships. So in the last verse, Krishna has mentioned bhajanti, they do my bhajan. मेरा भजन करते हैं, भजंती अनन्य मनसो. 13th verse, third line, it is on the slide. Bhajanti ananya manaso, they do my bhajan. What type of bhajan they do? They do my kirtan. So Krishna is endorsing kirtan. Somebody was telling one devotee, अरे आप बोलते हैं 16 माला करने को, कहाँ लिखा है भगवद गीता में 16 माला करना है, बताओ. So that devotee showed this verse. यहाँ पे लिखा है सततम 24 घंटा करना है, हम तो आपको केवल 2 घंटा 16 माला करने को बोल रहे हैं. बोला हाँ बराबर है, 16 माला करना अच्छा है. So Krishna is saying satatam kirtayanto, chant my name always. So this kirtan may be of various types, chanting the names of the Lord. And actually kirtan means whatever we do in relationship with Krishna, it is kirtan of the Lord. Anything we do in Krishna consciousness is kirtan of the Lord. So that is how we have to understand that the devotees, the pure devotees, what they do? Bhajanti ananya manaso. And the sadhaka, what they do? Yatantascha dridhavratah. Yatantascha dridhavrata means they are always endeavoring with great determination. So it is for the sadhaka. For us, we have to endeavor. We have to endeavor to think about Krishna. It does not come automatically. By nature, our mind goes towards sense gratification. We are conditioned for sense gratification. So we have to endeavor. Krishna likes his devotees when they struggle to remember him. Pragad premere swabhava achar, nija dukha vignadi nakare vichar. So that is the symptom of a prem. Pragad prem, nija dukha vigna adi nakare vichar. Devotee does not consider their pains or pleasures. They are only thinking about serving Krishna. Their only concern is how can I serve Krishna. Tomar sevaya dukha hoye jata, seyo to parama sukha, seva sukha dukha parama sampada nashaya avidya dukha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, Tomar sevaya, whatever troubles and I am experiencing in your service, O my Lord, seyo to parama sukha. That is the greatest bliss for me. Seva sukha dukha parama sampada. These are my treasures. Because when I am serving you, there are so many problems which are coming in my life when I am serving you. But when I am serving you, The best thing which is happening is the avidya is getting destroyed. Ignorance gets destroyed when we serve Krishna. So therefore, Krishna is saying, Satatam kirtayanto mam yadantascha dridhavrataah. This devotee of mine is endeavoring constantly with determination. So Krishna will explain about this pure devotees, Ananya Bhakta, and pure devotional service, Ananya Bhakti, in 29th to 34th verses of this chapter, and then in 10th chapter, first 11 verses describe about Ananya Bhakti also. Then after this, he has given two extremes, 11 and 12th. This 11th and 12th verse, one extreme, those who are foolish, Mayavadi, they don't take shelter of Krishna, and 13th and 14th, other extreme, pure devotees. Then Krishna is saying there are some people in between also. इसके बीच में बहुत सारे लोग हैं. Krishna mentions about them in the 15th verse. So in this 15th verse, three kinds of worshippers are described by Krishna. Jnana yajnena chapyanne yajanto mam upasate ekatvena prithaktvena bahudha vishwato mukham. So Krishna is using three terms in this verse, and we have to understand, we'll try to understand these three terms because these are the technical terms we have to understand. So Krishna is saying jnana yajnena chapi anni. There are others. Others means apart from those I have described in 11th, 12th, 13th and 14th verse. 11th and 12th, Krishna has described most dangerous understanding about himself, about Mayavad. 13th and 14th, Krishna has described most evolved understanding about pure devotee. Now, Krishna is saying Anye, there are some other people who are engaged in this Jnana Yajna. Jnana Yajna means sacrifice by cultivation of knowledge. And who are they? Yajanto Mam, they are also worshipping Supreme Lord only. So who are these people? There are three types of people. Ekatvena, Prithaktvena and Vishwatomukham. So in the slide you can see Ekatvena means they worship the Lord in oneness. So this is called Angrahopasana. Angrahopasana. So these are describing Brahmavadis. So I have discussed earlier also what is this Brahmavadi. Brahmavadis are those people who do not reject the form of the Lord, but they are attracted to the impersonal Brahman feature of the Lord. Mayavadis are those who reject the form of the Lord. So these basic things should be very, very clear after this Bhagavad Gita overview. Brahma, what is Brahmavad, what is Mayavad, what is demigod worship, what is Virat Rupa, all these things, basic concepts should be clear. So Krishna is describing in this verse, Ekatvena means Brahmavad. So these people, they also worship Krishna only in oneness, thinking themselves to be God. You may be thinking, hey, this is also Mayavad. But no, this is not Mayavad. This is Brahmavad. So we have to understand why. Because these people, first of all, they do not reject the form of the Lord. And when it is described that they are thinking themselves to be God, that means they are thinking that I am God and God, they are same in quality. Qualitative oneness, quantitative difference. In qualitatively we are one with the Lord. And Prabhupada gives the example of a drop of the ocean and the ocean. The constituents of a drop of the ocean are same as the ocean, but the quantity is different. Another example Prabhupada gives is spark and the fire. So Krishna will describe about this Brahmavad more in 12th chapter. In 12th chapter, first to 5 verses, 5th verses describe about Brahmavad. Then second is Prithaktvena. Prithaktvena means these people are worshipping the many forms of the Devatas, thinking them to be coming from the absolute truth. And that he will describe in 19, in the same chapter from 20 to 25 verses. And then last is Vishwato Mukham. Vishwato Mukham means Vishwa Rupa Upasana. Vishwa Rupa Upasana means there are some people who are worshipping the Virata Rupa of the Lord. They are thinking that this whole material creation is a form of the Lord. And we will discuss this in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita in more detail, and Krishna will describe about this in same chapter from next verse onwards till 19th verse. So these three things should be clear. Ekatvena, Prithatvena and Bahudha Vishwato Mukham. Ekatvena means those people who are Brahmavadis and their process of worship is called Ahangrahopasana. Prithatvena means these people are worshippers of the Devatas and their worship is called Pratik Upasana. Pratik means they are worshipping the Devatas as representatives of the Lord. And Vishwato Mukham, these people, their worship is called Vishwarupa Upasana. They are worshipping this universal form as the Lord himself. So now we'll go ahead. And then in the 16th verse, Krishna describes how this, Vishwarupa Upasaka, just in this slide you can see, Vishwato Mukham is described in 9.16 to 19 and chapter 11 also. So in the 16th verse, Krishna says that, you have to consider the various aspects of the sacrifice to be the manifestation of that absolute truth. Aham kratur, aham yagya, swadham, aham aushadam, mantroham, aham evajyam, aham agnir, aham hutam. I am the ritual, I am the yagya, I am the healing herb, I am the transcendental chant, everything is Krishna. Then 17th verse, 17th to 19th, Krishna says how Krishna is all pervading, he is the supreme shelter of everything and is the cause of all causes. In 17th verse it says, Pitahamasya jagato mata dhata pitamaha. I am the father, I am the mother, I am the support, I am guardian, I am the object of knowledge, I am everything. So Krishna is all pervading. So Vishwarupa Pasaka, what does he do? He connects everything to Supreme. He is doing some sacrifice, he is connecting it to the Supreme. Supreme Lord, how Supreme is connected to this Yajna. Then his father, his mother, everything is connected to the Supreme. 18th verse says, Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi, I am the goal, I am the sustainer, I am the master, I am the witness, I am the abode, I am the refuge and most dear friend of everything. I am the best friend of everything, I am the supreme shelter of everything. Then he says, I am the cause of all causes also. So then after describing this, from 20th verse onwards, Krishna describes about the demigod worship. Traividyamam stoma paput papa yajyairishva swargatim prarthayante te punyamasadya surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan. So these people, what is their process of worship? Traividya, they study the Vedas. Somapah, Sompah means it is described as drinking the Soma Rasa. So our acharyas, they clarify. It is not that these people, they drink liquor and they are enjoying life. No. So Somapah means they are taking the remnants of the Yajna. Putapapah, and by these processes of reading the scriptures, taking the remnants of the Yajna, they are purified of all the sinful activities. Yajna Istva, they worship me indirectly. Yajna Istva. These people are also worshipping demigods, Krishna only. But their goal is Swaragati Prarthayante. They want supreme abode of heavenly planets. They don't want to go to heaven. They don't want to go to Goloka. They want to go to heaven. Therefore, what do? Te punyamasadya surendra lokam. And therefore, they worship all these. They do all these things. They attain those heavenly planets. And there, Ashnanti Divyan Divideva Bhogan, they enjoy life royally there. But you know what happens to these people? Krishna is saying it is not permanent, O Arjuna. They also come back again in to this material earthly planet again. Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam shine punye martelokam vishanti. Evam trei dharma manu prapanna gatagatam kama kama labhante. Tetam bhuktva, they enjoy vishal swarga sukha. The heavenly pleasure is much more than the earthly pleasure. Unlimited amount of sense gratification available in heavenly planets. But everything is temporary in this world. Shine punye martya lokam vishanti. It is like, you are traveling from one country to another country and you don't get a job there. Whatever money you have, you can just spend the money there. You cannot earn money. So whatever pious credits a person attain in this earthly planet, with those pious credits, they go to heavenly planets. And there they are given all types of enjoyment. But Shine Punni, when this Punya gets destroyed, again they come back to this material world, earthly planet only. Martya Loka means the place where people die. So why this is said that, this earth is only Martya Loka? Because we know demigods also, they die. Why it is described that this earth is Martya Loka and Swarg is Amar Loka? Just like if somebody is admitted to a hospital and the hospital says, we are famous that nobody dies in our hospital. So somebody will say, wow, such great hospital is this. So, but the inner story is, if somebody is about to die in that hospital, he is shifted to another hospital. And there he dies, he leaves his body. Similarly, when this heavenly planets, nobody dies in the heavenly planets, when this is said, what is done when the demigod is about to leave his body, he is pushed to some lower planetary system. And that we see as a shooting star. So next time you see a shooting star, you should know that some devata is falling from a heavenly planet. He is dying. Therefore, we ask, we have this conception. You just ask, make your wish when you see a shooting star, because marte dekhe jayega. So that is what is described. Shine punye martya lokam vishanti. They also come back to this earth because nobody can stay there. Gata gatam kama kama labhante. They are they are wandering in the cycle of birth and death. In this planet or heavenly planet, earthly planet, they are just roaming because of their desire to enjoy. After describing this, Krishna, he contrasts this to the infallible protection which he is giving to his devotees. So from now, next, whatever section is remaining in this 9th chapter is a very, very beautiful section, which is describing the glorious nature of Krishna, glorious nature of devotional service, sweetness of Krishna, how Krishna takes care of his devotees, how he is ready to do anything for his devotees. That describes the sweetness of this 9th chapter. That is Vijnana. That will take tomorrow. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. If anybody has any questions, they can put on the chat. So I think few have asked questions. Don't Mayavadis attain Brahman and again fall down in Mrityu Loka? How come their destination is hell? So you have to understand, Mayavadis, they don't attain Brahman. Brahmavadis, they attain Brahman. Mayavadis' destination is hellish planets. If somebody is deriding the form of the Lord, if somebody is saying that he will become the same Lord, he will merge in the Lord, his destination is hell. He will not attain Brahman. Who attains Brahman? Those devotees who are not deriding the form of the Lord. These are Brahmavadis. So Brahmavadis, they attain Brahman, but they also come down sometimes, because in Brahman they are not satisfied, because Brahman means Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. It is just like now it is very relevant now. People, they are at their homes now. 21 days lockdown. They have everything at their home, but people are getting frustrated, depressed, anxious. एक ही घर में कितने दिन रहेंगे, कब तक रहेंगे? सब कुछ है उधर, खाने पीने के लिए सब कुछ है, but they want to go out and reciprocate with people, talk with people. That is the same situation of Brahman. In Brahman platform, there is Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. No adhibautik, adhidaivik, adhyatmic misery. No miseries. But still, you cannot reciprocate with anyone else. Therefore, living entity is not satisfied. Only thing which gives satisfaction to us is when we reciprocate love with others. So therefore, it should be very clear, Mayavadis, they don't attain Brahman, they attain hellish planets. Brahmavadis, they attain Brahman, but they also will some time come down. And devotee, for sure, he is not interested in Brahman. So there is a one-time conversation happening between a devotee and a Maya Devi, Mukti Devi. So Mukti Devi is the personified demigoddess of liberation. So this devotee is chanting, and he realizes that somebody has come. So with his closed eyes, he is chanting. And then Mukti Devi comes, Mukti Mataji comes. So this Mukti Devi, she comes and she tells this devotee. So this devotee, he becomes alarmed. He opens his eyes and says, "Oh, who are you? Katum? Katum, who are you?" So Mukti Devi says, "I am Muktir Upagatasmi Bhavati. I am Mukti Devi. I have come to serve you." So he says, "Kasmad Kasmad here. How come suddenly you have come here? I did not call you." So Mukti Devi says, "Tvam Krishna Dev Smaranena Bhavato Dasi Padam Prapita." Because you are devotee of Krishna, I have become your servant. So this devotee says, "Duratisht, stay away." So Mukti Devi becomes surprised. Right? Why he is telling me to go away? I am humbly serving. I have come to serve him, and he is giving me gali. Duratisht. So he says, "Katham kuryad anare, what wrong I have done?" So devotee says, "Twad gandha nij nama chandan rasa lepasya lopo bhavet." Just by the fragrance of your body, my desire for practicing Krishna consciousness will go away. So devotee is not at all interested in this Brahman business. He is interested only in serving Krishna. Because in Brahman, there is no opportunity to serve the Lord. Salokya sarishya sarupya samipya aikatopyata diyamanam na grinanti vina mat sevanam jana. So there are 5 kinds of liberation. Sarupya. Salokya. Sarupya means attaining the same bodily features as the Lord. Salokya, residing in the same place as the Lord. Sarishti, having the same opulences as the Lord. Salokya, Sarishti, Samipya, staying near the Lord. Ekatva means merging in the Lord's Brahman feature. Diyamanam na grihnanti. A devotee does not accept any of these liberations vina mat sevanam jana, if there is no service in that place. So it should be very clear, devotees are not interested in Brahman, and Mayavadis don't attain Brahman. They go to hell. Brahmavadis, they attain Brahman. So another question is, Ekatvena people, do they consider Krishna as supreme? So this Ekatvena, they may not have the conception of who is the supreme personality, but they know there is somebody who is supreme and he has a form, and this Brahman effulgence is the effulgence coming from that form. And sometimes some people, they know also that Krishna is the supreme and this Brahman is the effulgence which is coming out of the body of Krishna. So like that. In 9.9, Krishna says he is ever detached and neutral. Does it mean that he has no feelings and is not affected by sufferings of the living entities? Yeah, very relevant question. So he says, Dasinvat asino saktam teshu karmasu. He is neutral, udasi. So that means Krishna, when he's saying I am detached, so he is neutral and impartial. So when Krishna is saying this, you should understand Krishna is impartial to everyone. He is equal to everyone, but still he has heart and he feels for the pain and misery of every living entity. So that's why he is there in the form of Paramatma in each and every living entity body. In whatever species the living entity may go, either in the body of a pig or a insect worm in the stool, Paramatma is there. So that shows how Krishna feels for every living entity. He is constantly guiding, constantly trying every means that somehow or other this living entity should come to me. So therefore, when Krishna is saying he is ever detached, that means he is not affected by all the happenings of this world. At the same time, he has a loving heart. His heart is, as Suniti, she is telling to Dhruva, oh Dhruva, if you want to get something, you want a kingdom greater than your great grandfather Brahma, go to Krishna. Tameva vatsa shraya vritya vatsala momoksha vimrikya padabja paddatim ananya bhave nij dharma bhavite manas avasthapya bhajasva purusham. O vatsa, ashraya vritya vatsala, take the shelter of the vritya vatsala. That Supreme Lord Krishna is Bhritya Vatsala, who has the heart of millions of mothers. Krishna is eagerly waiting that when will this living entity turn to me? Problem is, we are not turning towards Krishna. So Krishna is very, very loving person, and we'll discuss more on this tomorrow, where Krishna shows how he is loving everyone. So another question is, Chatushkumar are Brahmavadis or devotees? Also Brahmavadis stay forever in Brahman. So these Chatushkumaras, earlier they were Brahmavadis. So we know the story when these Chatushkumaras, they came to the door of Vaikuntha, and they were stopped by the Jai and Vijay. That time they were Brahmavadis. So when Chatushkumaras, they were born from the mind of Brahma, they are Manas Putra, Manas sons of Brahmaji. So when they took birth, they were liberated souls. So Brahmavadis means they are liberated from this material world. They are not attached. Therefore, when Brahmaji told them, please you procreate, they said, no, we are not interested. So this Chatushkumaras, they were Brahmavadis, but when they came to meet Lord Vishnu, it is described what happened. Tasya padaravinda Pinjalkamishra tulasi makaranda vayu antargata swavivarena chakara tesham sankshobham aksharajisham apichitta tanavoha. When these four Kumaras, Arvinda Nayanasya, when they saw this lotus-eyed Lord, and Padaravinda, there is a tulasi which is offered at the lotus feet of the Lord. So there is a fragrance, the air which is carrying the fragrance of the tulasi, and that fragrance is also carrying the aroma of the, this saffron particles which are offered at the lotus feet of the Lord. So this very wonderful experience of smelling the aroma of the tulasi, which is mixed with the saffron particles coming from the lotus feet of the Lord. So when these four Kumaras, they smelled these things, this fragrance, Sankshobham Aksharajisham, their whole existence was agitated. Generally, Brahmavadis means very peaceful, calm, composed devotees, people. But these calm, composed Brahmavadis, they also got agitated by the desires of devotion. And then they became devotees. So Brahmavadis, they may also get, elevated to the platform of devotion, or they may come back to the material world. So that is possible, like that. So somebody has asked, who are Shunyavadis? Shunyavadis means those people who are their philosophy is voidism. That means after this life there is nothing. Void. Shunyaitam, as a Pranati mantra of Prabhupada is Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini. So this Buddhist philosophy is this soul has come from nothing, and after this life soul will uh, vanish into oblivion. So this life is the only life which we are experiencing. Before that and after that we don't have any existence. That is called Shunyavad, and that is not recommended and bona fide process which is described in the scriptures. Why saying the name of the God at the time of death not same as remembering God? Yeah, because we discussed yesterday, smarana muktva, as Krishna says, yam yam vapi smarana bhavam tejyatyante kalevaram. So because it is described that even if somebody is chanting, it is our regular experience. We are chanting every day. How many times we are actually conscious of what we are chanting? So attentive chanting is very, very difficult. We may be vibrating the names of the Lord, but as Mahatma Prabhu says, many times these are blank mantras. Blank mantra means Krishna is not there in that mantra. We are just taking the syllable Krishna, or in Devanagari Krishna. Krishna is not there in that. It is blank mantra. It's like blank bullets, empty bullets. So if you are not conscious of Krishna while we are chanting, then even if we chant for millions of lifetimes, we will not attain the desired destination. Therefore, Krishna is saying, Smaran Muktva. Even if you are not able to chant at the time of death, if you can remember me at the time of death, you will attain my abode. So therefore, remembering Krishna is more important, and that's why this whatever process of Krishna consciousness chanting, this is a practice. Prabhupada writes in Nectar of Instruction. This is a cultivation. This is a sort of cultivation. We have to cultivate. We have to train our mind to remember, to hear the names of Krishna. So the more we chant, there are more chances that we will hear the names of Krishna. So it is a constant endeavor, everyday struggle. And only thing why we are doing is smartavya satatam Vishnu vismartavyo na jatuchit sarve vidhi nishedhasyuretayureva kinkaraha. All the rules and regulations which are mentioned in the scriptures, vidhi and nishedh. Vidhi and nishedh means do's and don'ts. There are so many do's and don'ts which are mentioned in the scriptures. Ye karna hai, ye nahi karna hai. Just like chanting, that is do's, don'ts are four regulated principles. Why we are doing all this? Smartavya satatam Vishnu. So that we can always remember Krishna. Vismartavyo na jatuchit. So that we don't forget Krishna anytime. So this is the goal of our Krishna consciousness movement, to become conscious of Krishna. So that's why Krishna is saying, Smaran Muktva Kalevaram. We have to remember Krishna always. Okay, we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.